Hi everyone, Wednesday again. Gosh, I can't believe how fast the week goes by. It's Wednesday already and I feel like I just talked to you a couple of days ago. Yeah, time flies, and this morning I was very busy recording videos for my upcoming program, which I'm super excited about, and I will tell you more shortly. It's all in the works and I'm so pumped about this. This is super beneficial and helpful for many of you. So today we want to talk about 5 tips on how to implement healthy changes in your life. So many people come and join this group and they tell me, Pam, I don't know how to continue doing what's good for me. You know, I digress, I drop things, life happens, and I just don't seem to make a lot of progress. And that is a very, very common concern, and it happens to a lot of us. So I want to help you make a little bit more sense of what we can do here. So if you haven't watched last Wednesday's video about habits, so I started this topic last week, then I encourage you to do so. Go back and watch that video, because this here is a continuation of what I discussed last week. And it was all about, defining your goal and actually feeling that this is what you want, and not just someone tells you that that's what you should be doing. Okay, a huge difference there, and this is actually what makes or break your success in achieving your goal. So watch that video, come back here after and watch this video. So the first tip that I want to give you for you to stay on track and to implement those healthy changes that you decide on doing is make sure you have an emotional connection with this new habit, with your goal. Because truth is, if I tell you, for example, as your coach, you should be drinking green smoothies every morning, right? And you go home and you say, well, she told me I should do it. I don't really like them. I don't like the greens. I don't like drinking smoothies. And now, I have this chore and I have to do all of this. So what are the chances that you are actually successful at implementing and keep doing this over a long term? Probably not very high, right? Because you're not feeling it. It's not something you really want to do. You have no emotional connection. It's more something that I told you to do, right? So if you can't feel it, if it's not emotionally validated by you, move on. Then maybe that habit is not the right one for you, okay? So be crystal clear on the things you're doing and implementing, that they actually speak to you. They resonate with you and they make sense to you, and you're okay and actually excited to do them, okay? You have to be excited to do them, because only then will they be successful for you in the long term, if you're trying to achieve something long term and not just for a couple of weeks. Okay, so that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is one new habit at a time. Okay, so I see many people who want to tackle everything all at once, because they have this huge plan that they want to implement. So work on diet and work on sleep and work on stress and work on and exercise and dating and whatever it is, and it's way too much to do it all at once. We fail if we even try and attempt. That's not how we're wired as human beings. We really do want to do a steady pace and one habit at a time. And once we've established that habit and it becomes our second nature, and we feel like, yes, it's going smoothly, we like it, we do it every day, and we're okay with it, we're excited, and it works, only then are we moving on to the next habit. And so most plans that we have to reach goals that are bigger, it's a journey. It's longer. You can't expect things to happen within a couple weeks. Okay, sometimes we have to adjust our expectations to the goal and the results. Yeah, so one habit at a time, and then we move on to the next habit. So that brings us really a more deep and sustained transformation, because that's really what it's all about. We don't want to just achieve something that's short-lived and then you're so exhausted and overwhelmed that you give it up all again once you've, you lost 2 pounds, you're excited, and then you stop, but your goal was losing 20 pounds, right? So we want to have this deep, sustained transformation. That is a journey, and it happens one habit at a time. So if you tend to be impatient, like for example, I'm usually an impatient person, we really have to work on our mindset here. Become more okay with things taking a longer road. And then again, it's important again that we have these emotional connections that we have to our habits, because it might take a while for you to actually work up to it and be ready for the next task at hand, okay? The next thing, so the third thing I want to talk about is we have to collaborate with ourselves. So what do I mean by that? I mean by that we have a choice about what we're implementing and what we want to work on. And we also want to have control over it. Something that we can actually control and do, okay? Not what others think. So again, I mention this again, because it is so important. If you feel like you're constantly thinking, oh, I should be doing this, or it's best if I do this, and if I only do this, it'll help me reach my goal. Those are all things that you've heard from the outside, people telling you, okay, should. So if you're shoulding yourself all the time, reevaluate what's actually going on, because maybe you are not working with yourself, with your spirit, with what you want to achieve. Maybe you're just adapting little pieces from here and there, trying to fit them and cram them into your life and into your schedule, and it becomes a chore, and it's hard, and it's not fun, and and then we get into this rut, and then we're exhausted. Yeah, have you been there? I've been there for sure. That's how I learned. It's not working. Okay, collaborate with yourself, and really get into this mindset of saying, yes, I can do this, and this is what I want to do because it's fun and it's helping, and I can see that, my body is accepting it as something valuable for me to do. So that was number 3. Number 4, take responsibility for your actions. I talk to people all the time who have a million excuses, okay? So it's actually prevalent. And talk about myself too. I have excuses all the time about things I don't want to be doing, right? Excuses all the time. Or self-sabotage. Once you've established the plan, and then, start tomorrow. Oh, actually, tomorrow's not a good idea. Maybe after the weekend, because, I have this thing happening, and there's the birthday, so I want to eat the cake. Whatever it is, we are master creators in excuses and self-sabotage to not wanting to do anything. Okay, once we decide we're going to do this, okay? We take responsibility for our actions, so no excuses, okay? No excuses. And again, if you feel like you're procrastinating because you don't really want to do it, go right back to what I said, number 1, are you emotionally connected? Because oftentimes people come and they have all these goals, and they have all these, I want to lose 50 pounds. But then when you talk to them, or I want to have more energy, but then when you talk to them, you find out it's not really what they want, because they don't want to change anything. It's just they think they should do this because it's better for them, right? It's better for them if they lose 50 pounds because everyone tells them to. Doctors tell them to, maybe the spouse tells you to, but deep down, you know that you're actually comfortable the way you are. And if you're comfortable with where you are, what's the point in trying to implement changes? That doesn't make any sense. And you're also probably not going to be very successful in doing that, right? So really go deep and do the soul searching about why you actually want to change something. And if you feel like you're shooting yourself all the time, revisit this. Okay, make sure it's actually you who wants it, so you can hold yourself accountable and you take responsibility for your actions. Number 5, choose the right accountability partner or coach for you. Okay, so you want to have someone who works collaboratively with you. Again, you don't want someone who tells you all the time what you should be doing. Okay, I mean, yes, we need a guide and we need a frame, and we have coaches or accountability partners who suggest things to us that might be beneficial. But ultimately, going back to what I said with number 3, we have the choice and we have the control over if that is the right thing for us. And let me tell you from my own experience, I worked with a lot of coaches, on business, on personal stuff, and everyone has their agenda. Everyone wants you to do what they think is best for you. And you get into this program and you get pressed into this frame and you start to hustle and you start to run with it and you start to do what they tell you. But deep down, you're kind of missing a little bit of the emotional connection, and you're sometimes doubting yourself that it's actually right for you. It's because they might not be connected to you, what's going on in your life. It's just they feel like they've set a trend and they developed something that works for a lot of people, but maybe not for you. And I've been there too personally, so I know how that feels. And it's kind of like to slightly disconnect with what you're trying to achieve. And then it gets a lot harder to actually make progress and keep progress. But I also know that if you have nobody who holds you accountable and you have no plan, you're doomed to fail in the first place, okay? So we want to have a plan. We want to have someone to guide us, and we also want to have someone to hold us accountable. That's the fastest way to success for anything, no matter what area you're trying to improve. But make sure you feel connected with this person, and make sure this framework that you're being put in has a leeway for personalization, for taking your own needs into consideration, helping you implement changes for your personal life. That is super important, right? So I love programs and I'm offering them myself. I do them myself, and I have a framework, of course, where people work on certain things. But I always make sure that in my programs we have this personal component where I talk to them all by themselves and figure out which way do they need to go to make this work for them, because not everything works for everybody at all the time. No program can do this, and nothing is always 100%. But when it comes to your health, it's super important that you find something that works for you. And we're all different. We're all biochemically individual. We lead different lives. We have different situations we're in. We have a different mindset, a different, decision process and readiness at different times. So we have to make sure this is a good match. Okay, so you want to make sure you're connecting and you have someone to do this with you collaboratively. Okay, so those are my 5 tips for today. How to implement healthy changes into your life and actually keep them there and make sure that you can walk your talk and your journey so you are successful in reaching your goals. So I hope this was helpful for you. Give me thumbs up or some hearts if you like this. And if you know someone who should listen to this, or you know someone who could benefit from this content, please invite them into our group. Make sure they're connected here. They can ask me questions. You can ask me questions on our posts. So let's have this conversation, and let's make sure that we have what we need in order to succeed on our journey. So have a wonderful week, everyone, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.